Ribbit.
I will get you, my little Froggy. That should do it. Why, hello there, cutie.
Get your tentacles off me.
This drink is just for you.
Oh gee, I am thirsty. Ribbit. Ribbit.
Perfect.
Oh my god, welcome to the frog.
Oh my god, that frog looks dead.
Oh my gosh, what should we do?
Let's eat it!
What? You can't eat it?
Oh, then what should we do?
Well, what do you think happened to it?
Oh, I know. I think Amira killed it.
No, I think high calcium renal solution killed it.
No, I did spur.
No, I'm right.
No, I'm right.
No, I'm right.
Oh, I know. We should do an experiment on it and see who's right.
Yeah, and whoever gets it right gets to eat the frog.
Okay, let's go.
Wait, you want to eat the frog right now?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mickey, and before we do our experiment, we need to understand nerve physiology. In a normal neuron, an action potential begins with a stimulus. If the stimulus is above the threshold potential of the neuron, an action potential will occur. The stimulus activates voltage-gated sodium channels, causing the cord to open. This activation is voltage dependent. When the sodium channel is activated, sodium enters the neuron from outside the cell, causing the cell to become depolarized, with a more positive charge. The repolarization of the neuron occurs as sodium channels undergo time-dependent inactivation, and potassium channels undergo voltage-dependent activation. The sodium channel port gets plugged, preventing sodium from entering the channel, while potassium exits the cell. The combined effect is repolarization of the cell, causing the cell to become more negatively charged. The final stage of the action potential is hyperpolarization, in which potassium channels undergo voltage-dependent deactivation and sodium channels undergo voltage-dependent deactivation. The sodium channel port closes, resetting the channel for the next action potential. Potassium stops leaving the cell, and the membrane potential returns to the resting potential. This is how an action potential occurs in a nerve. When I tested the effect of high calcium renal solution on the sciatic nerve of the frog, I soaked the sciatic nerve in renal solution with 10 millimolar concentration of calcium and measured the threshold, max cap, conduction velocity, and refractory period. From the results, the high calcium renal solution caused the threshold potential to increase, the max cap to amplitude to decrease, the conduction velocity to decrease, and the refractory period to remain constant. The physiological mechanism of high calcium solution on the nerve is its blockage of voltage-gated sodium channels and the gate-shifting effect of calcium on voltage-gated sodium channels. When calcium is added to the nerve, it enters the voltage-gated sodium channel, but gets stuck within the channel. This action prevents the channel from opening, which prevents sodium from entering the cell. The gate-shifting effect of calcium is where calcium is absorbed to the negative charges on the membrane surface. This causes the inside of the neuron to be more negatively charged and the outside to be more positively charged, preventing the activation of the sodium channel because the channel undergoes voltage-dependent activation. This combined effect of calcium requires a higher stimulus to reach threshold because the cell's potential is more negative and farther from the threshold potential of the neuron. Also, calcium requires an increased stimulus to reach threshold because some channels will be blocked and unable to become activated, preventing sodium from entering the cell and initiating depolarization. This explains the increased threshold observed in the data. The addition of calcium caused the max cap to decrease because of the sodium channel blockage. Some channels were blocked and unable to activate, preventing their depolarization. Thus, neurons failed to conduct action potentials, causing the max cap to decrease. Also, the addition of calcium caused the conduction velocity to decrease. This can be explained by the blockage of sodium channels. With some sodium channels blocked, the depolarization took more time, causing the conduction velocity to decrease. The refractory period did not change. These were the results caused by a high calcium solution.
Hi, I'm Chef Hello Kitty and I love eating. So I added verapamil to the frog sciatic nerve to see the effects of the drug. I soaked the sciatic nerve in verapamil solution with 0.5 millimolar concentration of verapamil and measured the threshold max cap, conduction velocity, and refractory period. And here is what I found. Verapamil blocks both sodium and potassium channels. When the action potential occurred due to stimulus voltage, the threshold increased because some sodium channels of neurons with larger diameters were blocked, requiring higher stimulus voltage to overcome the threshold potential of neurons with smaller diameters. The max cap decreased because less number of sodium ions were able to enter the cell membrane due to the blockage of sodium channels. The conduction velocity did not change. The refractory period was increased because the potassium channels were blocked. This blocking of potassium channels caused more potassium ions to be present inside the cell, causing the inside of the sciatic nerve to be relatively more positive and keeping the sodium channels inactive.
Hi, I am the evil scientist Dr. Bear, and I did my experiment on the effect of amiodarone on frog sciatic nerve. For the experiment, I added 20 mg per milliliter of amiodarone to the sciatic nerve, and the same measurement were taken as the previous two experiments. What I found is that amiodarone is able to block both sodium and potassium channels. By being able to block sodium channels, it decreases the depolarization of the nerve, and because of that, sodium ions can move into the neuron. With less depolarization, some neuron fibers' threshold potential cannot be reached. As a result, the max cap decreases. However, the threshold potential and the conduction velocity didn't change significantly from the treatment of amiodarone. This is due to the fact that these measurement depends on the A-alpha fibers. The A-alpha fibers in the nerve has the largest diameter, which makes it most insensitive toward the drugs. As a result, amiodarone does not affect the A-alpha fiber significantly. And because amiodarone blocks the potassium channels, it was expected that the refractory period will increase. The refractory period depends on the rate of sodium channels returning to the resting state from its inactive state. And in order for the sodium channels to return to the resting state, the cell must be repolarized. The repolarization depends on the potassium ion moving out of the neuron. Since amiodarone blocks the potassium channels, fewer potassium ion can leave the cell, which decreases the rate of repolarization. And as a result, the time for the neuron to refire and the refractory period increases. But for my experiment, the equipment in my lab were too out of date, so it wasn't sensitive enough to measure the change of refractory period. That's why the result did not follow my prediction.
You're all wrong. I'm alive.
A little party never killed nobody, so we gon' dance until we drop. A little party never killed nobody. Right here, right now is all we got. Skip, ba da,